long runs that take up over 30% of my weekly mileage, 3 races in 1 week, and almost 0 speed training. This is my unconventional way of breaking 4 hours in the marathon. Now, disclaimer, I was training like a 3:30 marathon runner and I just completely bonked at the end, so I ended up getting almost 4 hours. But this is how I did it. All right, so looking at the first week back in training, we can immediately see that I took 3 rest days. Now that is because once we finished cross-country season, I took a bit of a break between running just to let my body fully recover before getting back into it. And then you can even see that when I start coming back, I start coming back easy. Like there was no distance in these runs, it was mostly time at the start. And my one real session that I got in, my fartlek, I actually failed because I think I had a lot of pain in my legs. All right, so turning things over to week 2, we can immediately see that my training is still pretty much rock bottom, with Monday's run completely canceled because I was sick, and Wednesday's run completely canceled because I was feeling pain. This is very notable because of my Achilles pain reoccurring a lot. So you will see more of this. As for the one workout I was actually able to complete this week, it was a nice fartlek, 10 by 2 minutes on and 2 minutes off. Now this workout right here, I remember being a pretty tough workout because of its high mileage at its time for me. I wasn't really used to doing so many miles for a workout or a fartlek, so I think I actually stopped in between to take a bit of a break for the legs. Moving things on, we completely finished off the week with some nice recovery runs, some steady runs, and a 60-minute easy run. 0 long runs in the mix at the moment. Pretty crazy if I'm training for a marathon, but I don't know what I was thinking. All right, so moving on to week 2, I think this is the first week where I got in pretty much a decently sized week. We started off with a nice and easy run. As for the 2 workouts this week, we have 2 fartleks, one being 8 by 4 minutes at 7-minute pace, and another being 3 by 10 minutes with 7-minute pace, progressing down to 6:30 pace. Pretty tough stuff, but sadly Wednesday, we took it off again because I was feeling a lot of pain in my Achilles, so it wasn't going very well, it seems. But I did do my first long run of 11 miles easy, so we're at least getting somewhere. Week 3, I remember this is where we did a nice night of PRs 5K tempo on the track. I recorded and made a complete video on that, so go check that out. As for this race, I just remember it being pretty humbling at the time to run 20:14. I wanted to go sub 20, but I could not do that. And I also could not get in any decent long run this week because I was just making sure not to overcook the legs before next week, which is pretty crazy. But if you do keep an eye out, you can see that I'm doing a lot of like double days. Like I'm doing runs in the morning and runs in the afternoon. Like on Saturday, I did 4-mile recovery and then 5 miles easy. Honestly, the me now would have probably done more of just all in one because I'm not doing enough mileage to even be considering doing those type of double running yet. As for next week, week 4, we got Nike NXR South. This race, I kind of treated it as a tempo, I'd like to say, but looking back at the heart rate, it was almost a flat out effort, man. But we've at least got 1942 in this 5K, so I'm pretty satisfied with this. I took next day off because I knew I had a turkey trot that I had to make sure I ran fast in. So this was my actual one big race that I did in this block, the Houston Methodist Turkey Trot 10K, and in this I split 40:03 for my first 10K. Pretty nice. I'm pretty satisfied with it. And as we can see, we honestly finished off this week with a lot more mileage than I should have. I did 3 races in 1 week, so I probably should have toned down the long runs and the recovery mileage. So in this week, we start off with a nice and easy recovery run, 2.2 miles, nothing crazy. Moving on to a nice fartlek. I'm treating it as a completely normal week. I should have taken it a load down from what I'm used to. But because I didn't, that damaged me later on. But the 2 workouts I got in were a fartlek 10 by 2 minutes on and a nice 4 by mile threshold run. Along with that, our long run ended up being 10 miles that week. And that finished off that week with a nice 41.5 miles. Week 6 is where things went haywire. In week 6, pretty much I just got injured that week. I don't know, Monday we started off with a nice and easy run. In that run, I should have probably done it as recovery, but instead I did it easy, pushing the pace, and I got injured for the rest of the week, you know? Like, I could not run. And then when I was feeling pretty good on Saturday, I did a 4-mile easy run along with a 4-mile recovery run, and then boom, you know what? For week 7, now we're sick. So I pretty much took that entire week off as sick, with the last 2 days being just 5K recovery runs. Nothing insane, but there's absolutely nothing I can do. Week 8 is when we started incorporating more of my Achilles strengthening, biking, and just a whole lot more running. And I just try to make sure that I did longer runs because I was just keeping my runs too short, too many double days, not good. It was pretty easy. I finished off with 35 miles, nothing crazy. Week 9 was definitely one of my stronger weeks. We came back and did 42.6 miles and only one workout that week. The rest were just easy recovery and long runs, with my long run finally being upgraded to a huge 14 miler. Now that does take up most of the mileage that week, but I just remember how hard this was and I just had to get in those longer long runs if I could even imagine what a marathon would feel like. Week 10 is more of the same thing, just one workout a week. The rest were nice and easy recovery. The long run for this week, I did it shorter because I think my legs were just super tired, and we only maxed out at 11 miles for the long run, coming through with a nice 40.6 miles that week. Week 11 is the week of the Austin Half International Marathon. This was a crazy week. With this week, we maxed out at 42 miles and nothing notable except for my workout that I did along, 2 by 8 minutes on. That was pretty crazy, and a bunch of easy recovery. But the half marathon, we came through in 1:43:50. This was a pretty good sign of, oh, I am nice in that sub 3:30 shape. I did this as a workout. I think my heart rate maxed out at 175 to 180 average. So this was a very good confidence builder for this real marathon. So week 12, I made sure to really not tone down the training, to keep the training high, but I kind of eased in with 0 workouts that week, a bunch of recovery, a bunch of easy, and only a long run of 11.3 miles. As for week 13, we introduced the tempo run back into the mix with a nice 4.5 mile tempo run at 7:47 pace. This workout, I remember feeling pretty strong. I was very happy because it was one of the first workouts I did back. And we finished off the week with my longest long run of the block, 15 miles. I've never run past 15 miles before running the marathon. And the way I broke down this 15 miles was 5 miles easy, 2 miles at 8:30, 1 mile easy, 2 miles at 8:30, and then 5 miles easy, finishing it off for a nice huge 15 miles that week. That long run took up 30% of my entire weekly mileage, coming through with 35 miles that week. Definitely a bit lower because I took 2 rest days. I think it's just because I didn't have time for running at the time, but I needed those 2 rest days because next week it was crazy. Now week 14 is a pretty crazy week because we did 3, almost 4 workouts that week. Starting off, we got 2 by 1K. I remember this workout completely failed. I wanted to do 8 by 1K. I could not, my legs didn't work. So I just did 2 by 1K, then 1 mile, and then 800 meters and called that the day. Next day, we ran it back with a 5.5 mile tempo run at sub-marathon pace. And we finished off that week a nice 4 by 2K at sub-marathon pace as well. I also, for that week, my long run was 9 miles at marathon pace. Pretty crazy. So this week was my toughest week yet, and yet we came through still for the marathon. Week 15, come on. It's race week. I made sure to take 4 days off before the marathon. My thighs, my knees were all super sore. So I think more running compared to that would have just been a bad sign. Maybe I should have done a shakeout, who knows? But the only 2 runs I did were my easy and recovery run, and we came through on D-Day of Austin with a 3:54:52. That's how you run a marathon, baby. That's also how you bonk. I did not pace that well, but I have a whole video on that. Now with all this training, I think if I did a bit more strength training for the thighs, I could have maybe knocked out a better time, but my thighs just weren't ready for the marathon yet. Also, I probably should have incorporated more and more speed and sessions into the mix rather than not. I will say that for my first marathon training block, I'ma just give it a 6.5. So if you guys want this entire Google Doc of what I did and how I did it, if you guys want to nitpick and take anything out of that, then please comment down below and I'll share a link in the description. If you guys want this, say it, and I'll see you guys next time because there's still a lot more races I'm gonna do, and we got a bunch of stuff in the plans.